What's up, everybody? It's Gino coming at you to break down UFC Fight Night, Jared Cannonier versus Caio Borralho. This is going to be a good fight. I'm really excited for the main event. Before we get into it, I just have a couple things I need you guys to do. First, hit the like button. Then I need you to leave me a comment below after that. I don't care if it's a letter, maybe your favorite dog play. Speaking of dog plays, we crushed it last week. If you watched my videos, we had Dan Hooker, O'Neal, and Walker all hit plus money tickets, hit each one of them individually. It was a nice night of printing money last Saturday. So anyways, that's why it's important that you do those things and subscribe to my channel and ring the notification bell so when you know when the next thing's coming out. Again, like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. All right, enough of that. Let's get right into it. So we have Jared Cannonier fighting Caio Borralho. Right now, the line is minus 205 for Borralho. I am going to go with the plus money. I'm going to go with Jared Cannonier. Here's why. Jared Cannonier has fought some really high-quality guys. So high-quality, he has fought a couple former champions, beat one of them. So Sean Strickland, he handed him his loss. And we've learned now that Sean Strickland's a lot better than we gave him credit. Okay, you say Izzy's not that good? Well, what about Dricus? Dricus, he in my opinion, he beat Dricus. Anyways, Jared took it to Sean Strickland. So that should be noted. A loss of Jared Cannonier would be to Israel Adesanya when he was the champion. And also, you can't forget the Imavov fight that just happened that I believe they robbed Jared Cannonier in that moment. I'm really hoping that things can get back turned around for him here. Now, I like Caio. I think that he is a really good fighter himself. He's part of that Fighting Nerds group. If you follow the scene, those guys are often seen down at Extreme Couture working out, fighting with those guys. Any group that rolls with those guys, they're going to have a good motor. They go hard. Caio is very complete. He can wrestle. He can strike. If it weren't for the body of work of Cannonier to include his win over Strickland as well as Vettori, and then just a lot of the top opponents that he's faced over his career, I would totally go with the favorite here. But because of those things I just listed, I got to go with Cannonier. I'm going to pick him to get it done with the plus money. So we're starting off with a dog play off the bat. Now we're going to go back. This one's really closely lined. You have Angela Hill versus Tabitha Ricci. Now, Angela Hill is getting older. Right now, she is 39 years old. Now, she does have a 3-inch reach advantage, as you see above, as you see on my board with Tabitha Ricci. However, Tabitha Ricci is very complete. She has a very nice win that aged well in Jillian Robertson, who's come on very strong since that loss. And then you have Angela Hill on the other side, who she's won 2 straight. She just landed a submission win over Pinheiro, but, I mean, I'm not going to give you but so much there. And then also, yeah, she started to work some wrestling in one of her fights. She landed 6 takedowns. But let's not forget, she also fought a Mackenzie Dern, who's known really for her jiu-jitsu and got bludgeoned by her on the feet. So I say all that to say I don't think she'll be able to use the striking as good as one would think to really keep that wrestling at bay of Ricci. And then Ricci's overall volume over the course of 3 rounds I think would get to her. Now, I wouldn't be mad at you if you went ahead and sprinkled a little plus money on that submission prop for Ricci. I think either way you go with Ricci, I think that's the good play here. So I'm going to go ahead and go Tabitha Ricci. And I think on DraftKings, when I go to look at those, she may be one of my sneaky plays. Next, we have Michael Morales versus Neil Magny. I'd say this, and I've said this a couple times this week. If you can get a Neil Magny at plus 450, fighting essentially anybody, I believe he's number 13 right now in the UFC, if I'm correct. He's one of the top guys, and you're getting him at plus 450, fighting Michael Morales, who is 16-0 and has looked quite dominant in doing that. One thing I would note about Neil Magny is he's lost to guys like Ian Gary, Burns, and then you also, but while he's lost those fights, he's also has a nice bounce back against a Mike Malott, in which he knocked him out. However, I think Michael Morales, he's got a decent body of work, and he's looked dominant doing it. If you look at it, he beat the number 24 Jake Matthews handily, and then he also beat Max Griffin, number 25, handily. I think this is going to be a major step up. So with that being said, betting-wise, if you bet that, I'm saying gas money play. If you threw something on Neil Magny, I wouldn't be mad at you. I'm probably not going to do that. Now, from a DraftKings standpoint, definitely something I'm going to invest in. But I'm going to invest in it on both sides because let's not forget, Morales, out of his 16 wins, 12 of them have been finishes. And like I said, he looks good doing it, like a buzzsaw. So I really think it can keep going here. But again, anytime, there's always that question when you fight against those guys with that ring experience, that ring time, on how that transitions over. So give me Morales to get it done, but I'm not going to be mad at you if you decide to throw a little bit at that Magny side of things. So here I'm going to go with another dog in Gerald Meerschaert when he's fighting Edmund Sabazian. Now, Meerschaert is 2-2 over his last 4. He has a round 1 KO loss to Pfeiffer that doesn't look good. He's been finished in round 1 actually a couple of times, and he's fighting a Shabazian who is pretty decent, but he's not like a world beater on the feet, in my opinion. He's not like, oh my gosh. Now, I think he's got the power. I do think he has the potential to knock Gerald Meerschaert out. But with that being said, I think Meerschaert can get this thing to the ground, possibly maybe land a trip. Somehow this thing gets to the ground. And if it gets to the ground, he is automatically live. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow this thing ends up down on the ground in round 1 and Meerschaert lands a submission. Of his 5 wins, of his 5 last wins, all of them have been submissions. So that should be taken into account with Meerschaert, especially when you're looking at DraftKings plays. However, Shabazian, it's got a high chance of violence, and I wouldn't say no to Shabazian. At minus 300, I just think it's a steep price, and I don't think it is the worst thing to go take a shot on GM over here. So we're going to go Gerald Meerschaert on the plus money, and we're going to go ahead and give that one a shot. Next, we have Bazooka. This is the late ad. We have Bazooka fighting Francis Marshall. Now, this one's a late ad. I don't even actually have the line on it right now as I'm making this video. Now, Marshall's 1-2 in the UFC. He got crushed in round 1 by Bulgarian, and it was pretty ugly. So, and if this thing goes to the ground again, now the Bazooka can get taken down, and I think that's what Marshall can do here. Sean Woodson kind of had his way taking down Bazooka in their fight, and I don't respect Woodson's ability to wrestle as much as I do Marshall, so I think Marshall can really put that wrestling pace on him. And I think once he gets it down, I think he can land the submission here. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he can do it over a course of the fight, just using the wrestling. Now, the one thing, Bazooka has fought pretty tough guys, and he did lose that round 1 KO to Immers, but Marshall doesn't possess that type of power. So I could see this either being a submission or a decision win for Marshall, but also this is another one where it could go either way. You could make arguments for either way, but I'm fairly confident I think Marshall can get it done here. Next, we have Ryan Lauder versus Robert Valentine. Now, it's not up on the Tapology, but the lines I have right now is Lauder at plus 150 and then Valentine at minus 180. Give me the plus money here. Lauder's coming in. He's got a split loss to Troy Green. He left something on the table to be desired in that fight, in that split loss. I thought, I could equate a lot to that to experience. Now, he's fighting a Valentine who is powerful, and he has a lot of experience outside of the UFC. But what I'm saying is he hasn't got pulled up that well. His film is just like so-so. So I can see why they're giving him the slight money, because you don't have a very good sample of the 6-1 Lauder. But I think that he learned there, and if you watch him on film, he looks pretty impressive. He looks to be the part, decent with the striking. With the striking and the accuracy as well. I'd look for him to tag up a Valentine and possibly finish him, but I'm confident in this plus 150 and taking a stab at that. Again, if I can get a guy who has that much potential and is fairly unknown fighting a guy that I know a little bit more of, I have more film on, and I'm still saying and still hasn't been in the UFC and he's been that long, then go ahead and give me Ryan Lauder on the plus money. Next, we have Borralho versus Line Top. So, with this fight, we have Borralho, who is coming in off of a submission loss to Chase Hooper. But Chase Hooper keeps getting better, so that's one thing to note in that. Now, Borralho has a powerful striking. 3 of his 3 wins in the UFC have been KO TKO. Now, Lion Top lost round 1 in a submission to Patilla in his debut. I do think, though, that Lion Top does have has the ability to land a finish here and could crack the chin. However, I'm fairly confident Borralho can get it done. Either way this fight goes, it's a high chance of violence, but I think the favorite is rightfully so, and I think he gets it done. Next, we have Jose Medina versus Zach Reese. I like Zach Reese. I think Reese puts on a pretty wicked pace with his guys. He is pretty superior in all the spots. However, he'll use the wrestling. He did get slammed by Cody Brundage. That's one thing to note, but that was pretty brutal what he did to him. But I don't see Medina possessing that same threat, and Medina can get submitted here. Now, Reese can get it done on the feet as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see him, because he's got a high rate of chasing submissions, if he doesn't just get him down and start going after a submission. Either way, go ahead and give me Reese to get it done here at minus 400. Next, we have Josiana Nunes versus Jacqueline Cavalcante. So, we have Nunes, who is landing about 6 strikes per minute, and Cavalcante, who is a moderate. She's a decent striker herself. Now, if the plus 160 dog is 3-1 in the UFC with a round 1 knockout over Malecki. I think that the Chandler loss, it's showing Chandler didn't look so bad last week, and she fought a pretty decent Santos. So I think that shows that Nunes may be a little better than we're giving her credit. I think that she has power for a female fighter, and she could show that off here. She also can she is fighting a high volume striker in Cavalcante. So I think Cavalcante could end up piecing her up, and if she can get it going, that could be a decision on why she's a minus 190 favorite. But I really think if this thing stays striking, I think that power of Nunes can get to her, and I think Nunes can get it done before the bout. So go ahead and give me Nunes on the plus money. All right, hear me out here. I got to make sure I got my notes out for this one, because y'all are going to think I'm crazy, but I am going to go ahead and go with the plus money Victoria Leonardo. Okay, so hear me out here. I had to make sure I was right. I had to make sure I was looking at the right ones, because I know people are going to think I'm crazy taking a plus 550 dog. But, so if you look at the losses for Leonardo, they include losses to Gatto, Natalia Silva, and Ferro. Silva is 11-0. Gatto is 9-2, and Ferro is 12-0. So she has a win over Mandy Baum, who Mandy Baum did not do well in the UFC, but she did transition well into boxing and has done fairly well since transitioning over to that. She's fighting a Wang who has wins over nobody that I know. If you look at her on film, she does look pretty good. She's pretty quick with the jiu-jitsu, but she's fighting a girl who's been here before and fought against some of the better talent that the UFC has to offer, let alone somebody that is going on her 6th fight into her career. Now, we see it happen a lot with these girls. They come in on big money tickets, minus 800, for example, like here, and then they get dropped by somebody with a lot of ring experience. And I could see if Leonardo's sitting here and we're looking at her 0-5 and just getting beat, but she's had fights where she's been competitive. She shows the skill. She has a roundedness. I wouldn't say she's particularly great at anything, but I think she's smart enough, and I think she can extend this fight, and I think it might not be beautiful, but I think she can get it done. I think she can frustrate a rookie who's not used to fighting people of this caliber. So give me plus 550 Victoria Leonardo. Please don't unfollow me for that. All right, guys. Hey, so this video is brought to you by the DFS Army. I work in there as well. So my DFS picks, I don't put those on video because we work through with a group of coaches to provide everybody with detailed picks and write-ups related directly to DraftKings. I, for one, was able to triple up my money last week. Almost took down that mini max. I needed a little bit more Kai Kara-France. We had a couple other people hitting. We have so many people that have taken down the mini max, and then we have football season right around the corner. And while you're at it, you'll see my link in the bio in the description of the video. Go ahead and use my promo code, subscribe. Subscribe to the DFS Army. We have football season coming around the corner. We do NASCAR. It's always something going. Our Discord's the best. The guys are awesome, guys and girls, because, Karma, you better be watching this video. Show some support. I'm actually going to see who says something in the Discord about these things I'm saying right now, so I know if any of you are real ones. Okay. But anyways, yes, and don't forget, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Keep my channel growing. Thanks, guys. Let's make some money.